Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? I hope your day is going well. Welcome back to the channel. We're looking at how Burger King lost the Australian market. This is from Harrison Engstrom is the channel, so it'll be linked in the description down below. This comes to us from David J on Discord. And here we go, guys. Burger King's really popular in the US. And I know that you guys, I think, have Hungry Jacks, and it's funny because like their logo looks the same. So let's hear the story of how that came to be and if it's popular in the land down under. Here we go.
Here in Australia, we have so many things that are the same but ever so different. You have Hulu, we have Stan. You have sandals,
Stan? What's
we have
that?
thongs. You have a president, we have 5 prime ministers in 5 years.
Wait a second. So you guys have Stan? Is that some sort of streaming / TV service? That's what Hulu is here. You guys don't have Hulu? You guys have Netflix, though. I'm pretty damn sure you have that. That's pretty interesting. I'd never heard of Stan. Maybe you guys have never heard of Hulu.
More importantly, you have so many fast food franchises that it absolutely...
You know what would be really fun? If you guys don't have a lot of these, if you look at this list, and this isn't even all of them, but this is like your really famous common fast food places in the United States. If you guys, it would be kind of cool to like live stream just going there sometime and have you guys come along and maybe experience it with us. That'd be kind of fun, right? So let us know if you want us to do that sometime.
Absolutely boggles the mind. For example, we have Hungry Jacks and you have Burger King.
There it is.
Wait a second. I haven't noticed this before. They look exactly the same.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on here?
They're identical.
Well, this might actually take a few minutes, but I do actually understand. But let me explain why Hungry Jacks is essentially Burger King, but also why one single court case actually made sure that Hungry Jacks stayed an Australian brand.
Oh, wow.
But like, look, let's go all the way back to 1953. So let's take a quick look at Burger King. Now, Burger King started in Jacksonville, Florida, and it was originally called Insta Burger King. Not like that, but pretty close. It was named after the Instamatic machines that were actually used by the McDonald's brothers, who obviously owned McDonald's. And now the original Insta Burger King owners, Keith J. Kramer and Matthew Burns. Now, I couldn't find a photo of them. This is what I imagine what they look like. Put some crowns on them. Okay, cool. Anyway, those two guys, Keith and Matt, they both visited the original Macca's in San Bernardino, and they purchased the rights to 2 of the Insta machines to make their own burgers, shakes, and fries. Now, the reason that they did this was to compete with White Castle, who were expanding their empire on the East Coast. Now, within 6 years, the franchise went from like a little flash in the pan to absolutely faltering. They made some really bad business decisions. And then in 1959, these two guys, 2 Miami franchisees, James McLemore and David R. Edgerton, here's what they look like. They purchased the company to restructure the entire chain. Their first order of business, the name. No longer Insta, just Burger King. And then they changed the burgers by inventing the broiler method, which is actually used to this day. And that's what a broiler looks like. Okay, fast forward a little bit, and then it's 1967, and business is going crazy, and everybody wants a piece of that fast food pie. Now, Burger King in the US, they've got like 250 locations, and they've done it all in like 8 years. And James and David, they couldn't be more proud.
Pretty
in fact,
rapid,
they're so proud that they get a call from this guy. And, you know, they don't really sort of do much, but they sell the company, but clearly it's big enough because they both served as president and chairman for like most of the 60s and the 70s. But anyway, that's just the Burger King story. Let's pause for a second. Let's go to Canada. Okay, so it's 1969. And this is life insurance salesman Jack Cowan. Again, I couldn't find a picture from that period. But look. Anyway, he's 26 years old, and he's not exactly having the best time of his life. He's selling London life insurance door to door, and he's like bummed out. So let's take me and my wife, and let's go to Sydney, Australia. And Jack is enjoying his vacation. He's like looking at the sights, and he notices that just down from his hotel, there's like a small restaurant with a really big queue. And he investigates.
What is it?
And he sees that there's like all these like takeaway shops, like Chinese stores and like chicken shops, and they're doing like buns of business. And he's like, I gotta figure out what's going on. And so he asks all the people, and he talks to them, and then he heads back to Ontario, and he starts to draft up a business plan because Australia is about to get the biggest fast food injection it's ever seen. So it's eventually December of 1969, and Cowan, who has barely lived in Australia for more than a couple of weeks, has already raised 300,000 Australian dollars in capital from 30 different folks in Western Australia. And he opens 10 KFC stores. He buys the idea, he buys the franchise, he brings it over to Western Australia. And for those who actually invested the initial $10,000, that single amount now is now worth $8 million.
Oh my
God. Now, Jack takes his money that like all the investors have put together, gives it out to all the different franchisees, and then he moves to Australia, even though he's like under 30 and has no idea what the fuck he's doing, except he likes fast food and he wants to bring it to Australia.
Okay, so this is starting out pretty interesting, right? You have Burger King popping up in America, getting some pretty initial success, like pretty good, pretty rapid. Then you have this Canadian dude, kind of bored, stuck in emotions, right? And he goes to vacation to Sydney, to Australia. And what do you know? We've heard this kind of similar stories on a couple other videos where people have gone to Australia on a whim and gotten inspired to do something. Wow, guys, that's a good sign. That's kind of crazy, right? And then look at all that this is happening. He is going to flood the Aussie market with some fast food, and will it be a good decision? Let's see.
Plenty of Okay, but not too loud. Let's check back with Burger King. Okay, so it's 1971, and like things are going okay, but Pillsbury is trying to make tops and tails of their latest investment.
Right.
They were making like a whole bunch of money, but I guess it wasn't enough because they start to look for other options for their franchise. They also want to expand for world domination, and they want to invest in Australia. Now play the anthem. It's not that simple.
Look how majestic that flag
Burger
is.
King is
nice.
Actually already trademarked by this man. This is Don Durbin.
Oh, wow.
And that's his wife, Jean. The very low.
Okay, so I know you guys have told me a brief summary of this in comments before. There was a Burger King already established in Australia. We're going to hear about it right now. That's kind of a big roadblock for American Burger King. They want to expand into this market, but someone has your name coined already? Ouch.
It's not that simple. So Burger King is actually already trademarked by this man. This is Don Durbin, and that's his wife Jean. They're very lovely. Don was actually born in the US, specifically in Washington, D.C.
No kidding.
He moved to Adelaide with his wife, and he built his own Burger King stand in Adelaide.
That's
like
cool.
Retro style, with girls who are on roller skates, and it's like a drive-in, and it's like classic, and he loves it. And Don's amazing franchise was on fire, and he even trademarked the name. Burger King. In fact, he started the trademark in Australia in 1966, and by 1970, he had 17 Burger King stores all around Australia.
Oh, I thought
he
this was
eventually
like
sold his chain of stores.
I thought this was like a little mom and pop shop. No, this is a real small franchise, like a legitimate business here. He's got 17 locations. Guy was from America, came to Australia. Damn, look at that. Australia, the new land of opportunity, baby. Or was it always a land of opportunity? America likes to coin that, but Australia is looking like they got some good vibes, man. That's awesome.
To the Burger King founders, but he didn't mention the fact that he's going to keep the name. So he's got this 30-year trademark ready to go, looking like this. And so frustrated, Burger King has no idea what to do.
Oh,
and then we bring in Jack motherfucking Cowan.
Oh, jeez.
Jack, right? You can't have that name. Get a better name. Or something to that effect. Anyway, despite popular belief, Hungry Jack's isn't actually named after Jack Cowan himself.
Oh,
in fact, Burger King's subsidiary Pillsbury had a series of acceptable...
I thought that's where we were going, is that it was going to end up being named after him. When we heard his name, Jack, at the beginning, I was like, oh, it must be named after him.
Isn't actually named after Jack Cowan himself. In fact, Burger King's subsidiary Pillsbury had a series of acceptable names, and I don't know what acceptable means, and they were actually cool with those names that they were going to use. And so he was looking at all the Pillsbury products, and on the top of Jack's list was a pancake mixture known as Hungry Jack.
Oh,
and then
my
Jack
God.
bargained to actually add the apostrophe, so it was like Jack owned it. As they say, the rest is bloody history.
No kidding. So Hungry Jack's, which is basically Burger King in Australia, but not Burger King because legally they can't be Burger King, named after a damn pancake mix. That is pretty funny, not gonna lie. And to think, going to Hungry Jack's, which would be like a Burger King-esque experience for me as an American, and yeah, to think that's randomly named after a pancake batter. Wow, that's pretty funny.
But it doesn't stop there.
One of those weird
so
stories,
between 1971 and 1989, a lot happens. Things are going great for Jack. There's more than 30 different Hungry Jack stores around Australia. Wendy's even tries to break into the Australian market.
Oh, no way.
And they fail, and then Jack purchases their stores in Victoria, and that's how Hungry Jack's makes its way into the eastern states.
We just mentioned, a couple videos ago, something about Wendy's. I can't remember which video, but and I showed the logo, and I said that like the Wendy's Frosties, their little ice creams are really popular, and people dip their fries in them. It's like a whole thing. And they're really good, and they're really underrated. But it is a good place. People mention that I don't think Wendy's obviously is not in Australia, but there is a different place called Wendy's in Australia that's something else, kind of like this story here. But yeah, I didn't know that our Wendy's from America actually did try to go to Oz, according to this, and apparently failed. So maybe I'll have to look into that into the future, because these are very interesting to me when you have companies. First of all, these videos always do well, so I hope this does well. Also, because I think they're really interesting. They're interesting for me. They're interesting for the viewers. I think it's crazy how some companies can just thrive in a really competitive market like the United States, but then they go to Australia, which, you know, you'd think kind of could cross over. I go back to that saying like Australia is kind of like the US, more so than like a lot of other countries you can name, but I know it's also unique and different at the same time. But you think because of the size and I don't know, like the diversity and stuff, you'd think some companies would thrive in Australia too, and usually it doesn't equate to that. So it's kind of interesting to see these videos.
Anyway, then it's 1990. It's an all-new decade.
90s, baby. Yeah.
Burger King meets with Jack, and they talk about their third-party license and renewing the contract. It gets kind of boring here, but please stick with me. Okay, so part of the new contract is this expansion clause, and it's called 2.1. Now, 2.1 is a part of the developmental agreement, and that says Hungry Jack's must open 4 new restaurants in Western Australia, South Australia, and Queensland every year in order to keep the contract intact.
Oh, wow.
In addition to the contract is also clause 4.1, which states any new restaurant is subject to Burger King's operational and financial approval.
Wow,
now, before that, it would have been on Jack. But anyway, Jack agrees and everything is totally fine. And then in 1992, Burger King actually offers to buy out Hungry Jack's in its entirety. But Jack is like, no, not doing this. So in 1993, Jack is like trying to keep his promise, like that 2.1, to make sure there's 4 new stores, and he partners with Shell. And so then Hungry Jack's like start popping up along all the different freeways and highways. And between 93 and 95, they have like 7 new stores around the country. And this means, like, if you're ever on the road, you need to stop to get gas, you're probably stopping to get Hungry Jack's as well. Now, there are, like, murmurs in the boardroom as someone is, like, leaking information from Hungry Jack's to Burger King from 1993 all the way up to 1996. Remember how I said that trademark for Burger King was going to run out in 30 years? Well, that time just came.
Oh, no way. Here we go.
In 1996,
get juicy now.
Everything goes crazy. All right, so at the exact same time the trademark for Burger King lapses, it just so happens that Burger King is getting real upset with Jack. Coincidence? Okay, well, maybe. Now, so this is where it gets a little bit complicated. So Burger King Corporation claims in court documents that Jack and Hungry Jack's were failing to expand the chain despite the fact that multiple franchisees were talking to Jack about opening new stores. Also in that same year, a number of stores are like gonna lapse in terms of the agreements that they had. But Jack can't do anything about it because Burger King are now up to renegotiating those new agreements, and it just gets more and more shadier from there. After he signed that contract, Burger King announces that they're not going to renew any of the store franchises, and they lose their jobs, and a whole bunch of stores disappear almost overnight. So from August 1995 to December 2000, Burger King actually freezes Jack on recruiting any new franchises.
No way.
Jack and his franchisees are actually told explicitly, don't send any information or any packages out to any possible franchisees because some of the information is out of date. And that's totally understandable. But Burger King does nothing to provide any new information or help resolve the issue.
Oh my God.
It's like if you were taking a history test and you failed because your teacher kept giving you a textbook that Istanbul was actually called Constantinople. And then you tell them, hey, maybe you should update the textbooks because it's 1925. And then they're like, no, we're going to keep you teaching you the textbook. So not only does Burger King hinder the expansion of Hungry Jack's, they straight up refuse to open any new stores, mainly because they don't meet the financial or operational requirements.
Wow,
Despite the fact that Hungry Jack's and their parent company, Competitive Foods, which also owns Domino's and KFC in Australia, were worth over $100 million at that point. By the end of the millennium, Jack has had enough, and he takes Burger King to court.
wow.
During this time, proceedings are pretty swift. And honestly, it was kind of funny to read all of the court proceedings because you have to remember that, like, all these lawyers and their representatives are talking about fast food chains. It's hard to take it very, very serious. But, look, I'll try and read some of it here. This is one of my favorite quotes from the case where Stephen Finch, he's representing Hungry Jack's, and he's talking about Burger King's conduct, and I'll try to do it in a serious voice. These are their stories.
Here we go.
His Honor has found that Hungry Jack's would have opened, in that period of about 4 years, 14 restaurants a year, if not for Burger King's conduct. To derive a figure for the income which was lost from those 14 restaurants per year, Hungry Jack's expert analyzed 3 samples of existing restaurants which had been built up until that point. Burger King's experts analyzed only 1 of these 3 samples. Now, again, this is all because they brought in an expert accountant to look at Hungry Jack's and the way that they were running their businesses, which was actually at a pretty high efficiency, and then Burger King stepped in with their practices based in those clauses. In fact, there's another clause called 8.1, which if Hungry Jack's failed to build those extra restaurants, they would be given an extra 12 months to fix and sort their shit out. It was so weird to read through this case. Like, it actually created what is known as a good faith principle example. And that's what that sounds like. A good faith principle was actually Bear. Again, it's crazy to read like how serious this kind of stuff is. Barron actually argued that in 1990, when the parties entered the development...
Yeah, it is funny hearing a slew of lawyer and corporate jargon. We're talking about 2 basically the same burger joints arguing in court. This is pretty bizarre.
Rental agreement, he said, it would have been plain to Hungry Jack's that if certain events occurred, Burger King could, at its option, terminate the contract. But they didn't. And the contract sufficiently identified the circumstances warranting the termination of that contract. And the lawyers go back and forth, and basically both companies don't have to be such big dicks when working in an open free trade market. That's what the good faith principle means. And Burger King even considers to settle for Hungry Jack's to rebrand their franchises to Burger King as a final ditch effort. Jack is having none of that at all. And then on June 21st, 2001, there's finally a verdict. Not only was Burger King totally in the wrong, but the practices of good faith were called into question multiple times. After the lengthy high court battle, the Australian judges ruled that Burger King had to pay $75 million for breach of franchise agreements. Now, shortly after that, Burger King actually agrees to help unlock the potential for like 100 new Hungry Jack's restaurants. It also says that they're going to invest $150 million to Australia's Hungry Jack's chain.
Dang, look at that.
So since then, Hungry Jack's has actually grown into a billion-dollar company. In fact, it made a profit of like $30 million in the last 2 years. And all thanks to this man, Jack Cowan. Jack Cowan is now 76 years of age and is worth $1.8 billion.
Smokes,
thanks to this one
Jack.
Canadian man, we have our own Aussie brand of fast food.
Wow, what a odd road for Jack and what became Hungry Jack's. Pancake mix product turned into the name of a huge billion-dollar company in Oz, Hungry Jack's. Wow, look at this. 420 restaurants, employ over 19,000 Aussies, serves over 1.7 million a week, 125 million Australian beef patties every year. Wow, Hungry Jack's is legit, really, really big.
And it's going stronger than ever before.
Stronger than ever. That is
and
crazy.
And now a word from a man.
Look at, there is the Hungry Jack's experience. This is pretty cool to see. And the branding, the colors, the green, the red, the brown there, just like the packaging. Yeah, it's definitely looks visually almost identical to a Burger King experience here in the U.S. Look at that big old burger.
Usually I don't get fast food, but it's so good. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm gonna finish this. I forgot how big they were.
And for reference, I rarely eat Burger King. If I eat it, most of the times I eat it per year are for breakfast, actually, not for their regular menu. I think their breakfast, at least their breakfast menu over here, is particularly pretty good. I like it, and it's relatively cheap, not too expensive. As for the regular menu, I probably only eat regular Burger King. Oh, man. less than 5 times per year, 5 times max. Maybe I don't eat it very often. But I do admit the Whopper is pretty good. I do think a Whopper with cheese is pretty good, albeit I only have it 2 or 3 times a year. So that's that. So that is a really interesting look into how Burger King lost the Australian market. But ultimately, Hungry Jack's is thriving. So we've looked at some other videos like this. Please browse my channel. I have like videos like this on like Starbucks and Krispy Kreme and some other franchises. It's interesting to see the crossover from America to Australia. This one had some extra twists with the whole the Crazy Jack guy, and then the renaming it after Pillsbury products, and the original Burger King in Australia being completely different and having the rights to the name. There was a lot to this. And them ultimately having a court battle, and American Burger King having to fork over a lot, truckloads of cash to Hungry Jack's in Australia. So with that being said, guys, I really hope you enjoyed that. I learned a lot from that, building off of comments you guys have left me. So I always learn from you guys, and this kind of just finalized the whole story. Really, really cool to learn about, and let me know if you'd like to see more about some American restaurants just for fun. You know, I like seeing him eat Hungry Jack's because it's new to me. It's interesting seeing restaurants in Australia, and I want to explore that more. And if you guys would like to explore more about American side of things, I can do that for a video or a live stream. I think that'd be really fun. That's why I love this community. We can learn from each other and experience things from another country, at least digitally, you know, to an extent. It's kind of fun. Please throw a thumbs up on this video, like it, pump up this video. I do appreciate it. I hope this one goes viral like the other company ones do. They're just really interesting. I think a lot of people get to learn a lot of cool stuff. So subscribe. We're almost at 50K, guys. We're so close. So close. You guys are doing really good on that. So make sure you subscribe. Check out that description for this original video and other ways you can interact with my channel. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Till next time, guys. I'll catch you later.